Hi guys, welcome back to my read along channel. Went back to work today, so really good that I managed to do a read along, but let's see how tired I get first of all. Today we are reading Lizzie Zipmouth by Jacqueline Wilson. We are going to be reading chapter 5, which is on page 43. This is all Jacqueline Wilson's own work, I'm just reading it for entertainment and pleasure. So let's get going. Chapter 5. I was sometimes a very, very bad girl and Mum Sam's place. I've been a good girl with my first stepdad. They weren't going to catch me out again. Sam couldn't fool me. He'd turn out to be mean and scary like my first stepdad. Maybe he'd even be worse. So if Sam did the cooking, I wouldn't eat any of it, even if it was one of my favourites like pizza. If Sam chose a video, I turned my chair around and wouldn't watch it, even when it was Little Women or Black Beauty or The Secret Garden. If Sam bought his ice creams when we were out, I wouldn't eat mine, not even when I was one of those big whippy ice creams with big strawberry sauce and chocolate flake. My mouth watered, but I didn't even have one lick. The ice cream melted and dripped down inside my sleeve. Honestly, Lizzie, why do you have to be so silly, said Mum, sighing as she threw my ice cream into the gutter. Sam sighed too. I was sure he was going to shout at me this time, but he didn't. He asked me if I'd like to go over and see Great-Gran again. Oh, Dad, do we have to, said Rory. I thought we only saw Great-Gran on Sundays. We can play properly at Great-Gran's. There's nothing to do, said Jake. This is a special invitation for Lizzie, said Sam. Shall I drive you over there after tea? I didn't know what to do. I wanted to go and see Great-Gran and her dolls very, very much, but I didn't want Sam to take me. I looked at Mum. I can't drive Sam's car, Lizzie, she said. I looked at her. I can't come too. I have to stay here and keep eye on Rory and Jake, said Mum. I looked at Mum. I looked at Sam. Coming, Lizzie, said Sam. I didn't say anything. I just gave a little nod. Sam had to strap me into the seatbelt in the back of the car. Comfy, he said. I gave another teeny jerk of the head. Sam played music as we drove. Silly old children's songs about pink toothbrushes and mice with clogs and circus elephants. Sam sang them all. Feel free to join in, he said. I didn't sing, but my dangling feet did a little secret dance as Sam sang a song about a tiny house and a place with a very, very long, funny name. Sam took me into Great-Gran's flat, but he didn't stay. He said he'd come back for me in an hour. She'll probably be bored in 10 minutes, said Great-Gran. I wasn't the slightest bit bored. I had the most wonderful time ever. Great-Gran let me go on another tour around her flat. I looked at the dolls on the shelves, the dolls on the chairs, the dolls on the windowsills, the dolls in their night clothes ready for bed. Then I looked hopefully at Great-Gran. She looked back at me. What? She said. Her eyes were gleaming and as brightly as the dolls. I swallowed. My voice sounded rusty when I used it. I could see the dolls in the trunk. I whispered. Speak up, said Great-Gran, and remember to say please. Please, could I see the dolls in the trunk, please, I said, so loudly that nearly set the dolls on the shelves blinking. Certainly, said Great-Gran. That's a very good girl. Come along then, you can help me get them out. She kept the trunks in the back of her built-in wardrobe. There were two, one on top of the other. I had to stand on a tiptoe to reach the top one. Easy does it, said Great-Gran. I went so easy I felt I was in a slow motion. The trunk was heavy. There seemed to be several dolls inside. When Great-Gran lifted the lid, I saw them lying in a row, eyes shut. They looked as if they were fast asleep. You can wake them up, said Great-Gran. I gently lifted a beautiful big doll with long blonde hair out of the trunk. She had white nightie but no slippers on her pale china feet. Her tiny toenails were painted pink. One of her hands was missing, but I didn't mind a bit. She's beautiful, I whispered, cradling her carefully. That's Alice. I expect she's a little chilly in that thin nightgown. Perhaps you'd like to find some clothes for her, said Great-Gran. The second trunk was crammed with neatly folded outfits, partly frocks, winter coats trimmed with fur, sailor suits, checked pinafores, lace-edged underwear, black knitted stockings, and little boots with tiny pearl buttons. My hand hovered hopefully above the clothes. Go on, have a little sort through, but don't get them rumpled, said Great-Gran. I sifted through the clothes with trembling fingers and found the pale blue smock dress with a white lace collar and the darker blue satin sash. Can she wear this one? I think that's actually Alice's favourite outfit, said Great-Gran. I dressed Alice, moving her arms and legs very gently indeed. The blue sleeves were a little long for her, so her missing hand didn't show. She looked perfect. Then I woke Sophie and Charlotte and little Edward and Wheelie, Clementine, and got them all dressed up. There, don't they look smart? All ready for a party, said Great Gran. She opened another box. There was a little blue and white doll's tea set inside. I thought we'd pretend a party fair, but Great Gran made a real pink rosehip tea and opened a packet of tiny round biscuits that just fitted the plate. We were still enjoying our party when Sam came to fetch me home. Have you enjoyed yourself, Lizzie? He asked. I didn't say anything, not to Sam, but I nodded so hard my head hurt. When I kissed Great Gran goodbye on her powdery cheek, I whispered, Please can I come again? Chapter 6, page 54. I went to see Great Gran almost every day. I always played with Alice and Sophie and Charlotte and Edward and Clementine. Sometimes we had dolls' tea parties. Sometimes Great Gran and I had proper ladies' tea parties with big flowery cups and saucers and sandwiches and a fairy cakes with pink icing and cherries. Great Gran let me cut my sandwich and cake to share with Alice and Sophie and Charlotte and Edward and Clementine. Once Rory and Jake came too. Rory was polite to Great Gran, but he kept yawning, and when he got home he ran all around the garden like crazy, leaping and whooping. It's great to be back. It's so boring at Great Gran's, he yelled. Sam said he could stick Sunday's visits. What about you, Jake? Said Sam. I don't know, said Jake. I don't like the dolls much, but I quite like the tea party. I might want to take all my Beanie Babies. I frowned. Jake didn't play with his Beanie Babies properly. He got all silly and excited and threw them in the air and made them have fights. I was sure they'd knock the teacups over. Great Gran would put Alice and Sophie and Charlotte and Edward back and Clementine back in their trunk sharpish. Sam put his arm around Mum. I take it you're not into dolls and tea parties either. No way, though I'm ever so glad Lizzie gets on well with your Gran. I'm a bit scared of her, said Mum, giggling. Don't worry, she terrifies me, said Sam. She can be seriously scary, said Rory. She's so frowny, said Jake. Well, I like her, I said. They all looked at me. Lizzie spoke, said Rory. Lizzie unzip, said Jake. Mum and Sam were smiling all over their faces. I smiled back. Then I skipped into my bright bedroom to get my knitting. I was making a teeny blue scarf for Alice. Great Gran had taught me how to knit. She taught Jake too. Jake said he was going to make 13 rainbow striped scarves, one for each of his Beanie Babies. But he'd only done 5 rows of the first scarf so far. I've nearly finished mine, but I seem to have dropped several stitches somewhere. I needed to see Great Gran to ask her to fix it. We were going to see her on Sunday, the whole family, but the Friday night there was a phone call. It woke me up and I heard Sam on the phone. He sounded very worried. When I peeked out of my bedroom, I saw his face was crumpled up the way Jake looks when he's about to cry. Oh dear, Lizzie, something very sad has happened, said Sam, coming up the stairs. He put his arm around me. It's poor Great Gran. Is she dead? I said, shivering. No, she's not dead, Pet, but she's very ill. She's had a stroke. She can't walk or talk properly. She's in hospital. I'm going to see her now. I'm coming too. No, love, not now. It's much too late. Look, you're shivering. You hop into bed with Mum while I go to the hospital. Mum cuddled me close and told me to try to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. I kept thinking of Great Gran lying on her back in the hospital bed, unable to walk or talk, just like one of the dolls in the trunk. And that is the end of that other chapter, guys. So the next one will be chapter 7 on page 61. But until now, that is it. We have only got 2 chapters left and about, I want to say 15, 16 pages left. So not long at all. So thank you again for listening, guys. Really appreciate it. And until the next time, goodbye.